All right. So, Rob, let's start at square one here.
Okay.
What is the Cook County Land Bank? I'm an investor. I'm here in Chicago. I'm looking for deals. I've
Yeah.
never heard of you guys. Can you give us a high level 2 minute overview and then we'll dive in from there?
No, awesome. Awesome. So the first thing I have to say is the Cook County Land Bank is not a financial institution, right? That the word bank in our name is really confusing for folks. So we don't make loans. We're not a financial institution. We don't accept deposits, right? But what we are is a county agency, as you described. We are an agency of the county under the office of President Tony Porkwinkle. We were created in 2013 by the Board of Commissioners. However, we do have an independently appointed board of directors that's chaired by Commissioner Bridget Gaynor. And I always mention that because that independent board of directors gives us a lot of flexibility and a lot of the ability to be nimble in terms of responding to a very dynamic marketplace. And as you all know, real estate can be very dynamic, and we are not we are able to respond pretty quickly without having to go back for additional approvals and things of that nature. So, formed to specifically address distressed properties throughout the county, both the city of Chicago and in suburban Cook. And we needed to have an organization that could respond to vacant and abandoned properties, tax delinquent properties, and be a responsible a group to be able to get these properties back to productive use.
So in 2013, there's this need, and it was, are you saying that the existence or the creation of the land bank was a lot to just kind of not have to go through a lot of the red tape that maybe the actual county would have to go through? Or what is it that you guys are able to do quicker and faster that maybe the county or the city is not able to do?
Sure, that's a great question. So it actually goes back to 2008, right? It goes back to the financial crisis. And coming out of that, what we saw around the country, and especially in Cook County, were a record number of foreclosures. And in these foreclosures, you had two things happening, right? You had people losing their jobs, and you had people losing their homes. And when they lost their home, or when they got the foreclosure notice, a lot of people would just move out of the house. So the house was abandoned. And so you had this phenomenon, called zombie properties, right? Where the banks hadn't completed foreclosure, the owners have moved out, so the house is there, it's empty, it's open, no one's responsible for it, and you had this record numbers around the county. And so the creation of the land bank was really an attempt to figure out how to get a handle on that. The first step was the vacant building ordinance. If you remember, the city of Chicago and Cook County passed a vacant building ordinance where that building had to be registered, and even if you were a bank and didn't have possession, per foreclosure, you still were responsible for at least securing the property and registering the building so that first responders and people knew that the building was vacant. That was a stopgap measure just to help with the actual blight and vandalism that was occurring. But then you need to go one step further and say, okay, if this is happening, and if the banks really don't want to complete foreclosure, right? And we've got people moving out, how do we responsibly care for this inventory of properties? What do we do? And then that's where the creation of the land bank came in.